The Metropolitano was a pressure cooker long before the final whistle, Red and White Throat's horse, a stadium that had waited to be remade into a cauldron. Atletico arrived with a plan and a hunger that turned the pitch into their theatre. Robin Lenormand's early header set a tone, but for a spell it looked like Real Madrid might answer back and steady the ship. Then the rhythm snapped. Kylian Mbappé and Arda Güler struck, and for a heartbeat, the match looked like a familiar real script. That is when football did what football does best. It surprised, it erupted, and it handed the narrative over to a single moment that would be replayed, argued about, and weaponized across every social feed. Atletico's Alexander Sørloth climbed, connected with the ball, and at the death of the first half, he nodded his side level. An equalizer that transformed anxiety into delirium in a matter of seconds. The stadium swallowed him, the fans pulled him into the red and white surge, and the celebration that followed would be more than a party. It would be the spark of an argument that set pundits alight. What made that celebration explosive wasn't joy alone, it was context. Sørloth had already been shown a yellow card earlier in the game, a booking recorded in the 22nd minute after a robust challenge. The laws and the practice around second yellows and celebration have been pored over countless times. If a player with a booking makes provocative contact with fans or crosses lines of conduct after scoring, a second booking is possible. On Saturday, Sørloth ran into the stands, embraced the supporters, and returned to the pitch amid pandemonium. And the referee, Javier Alberola Rojas, chose not to brandish a red card. That refusal to send him off was the fulcrum. In the hours after the match, it became the single image around which fans and analysts built two very different stories. On live television, the reaction was raw. One seasoned panelist exploded, labelling the decision a robbery and pointing at the refereeing committee's choice to appoint Alberola Rojas to such a delicately poised derby. That condemnation was more than a raised voice. It was the latest chapter in a familiar script where contentious refereeing decisions are amplified into season-defining grievances, and where every derby is measured in moments rather than minutes. The broadcaster's fury captured something broader, a sense that officiating decisions can tilt not only a result but public perception, and that when heat and stakes are high, the room for error feels impossibly small. But to reduce the afternoon to that single controversy would be to flatten a vivid story. Atletico's second half was an assertion. Julian Alvarez turned the game with two clinical finishes, and the home side's intensity exposed holes in Real's defensive shape. Questions that had been asked all season about certain signings and positional gaps reappeared under the glare of the derby, and Xabi Alonso's men were found wanting in structure and sharpness more than once. If headlines will shout about the referee, analysts will quietly note the tactical choices and individual errors that set the stage for Atletico to run riot. The result reads as a dual narrative. A decisive home performance and an officiating flashpoint, both true and both feeding the same storm.